Hi, this is Christopher Bruzo. Welcome back. I had some time to kill, so I'm going to try to bring you guys another upload. Today I'm sitting here with my Century Arms C39 AKM 7.62x39. So they marketed this rifle as an American-made, 100% American-made, 100% American parts AKM platform, you know, milled, made to the highest standards, at least from the advertising literature I found. Online, they do not have that good of a reputation. I could not find a ton of specifics about the C39. Other than it had some problems. Some people complained about them. Some people loved them, had no issues with them. And in 2015, they replaced it with a C59 V2, which I did find quite a bit on. And it seemed like the quality was not there. You can find some stuff on the C39, but nothing really definitive, no patterns. Looked at the sales literature and stuff. I don't know why they updated it, and I don't know what they changed. They give very few specs on the rifle, you know, laminate furniture. I think it came in different colors. It's 4140 steel. The receiver is 4140 steel, not 4150. It's a medium carbon alloy steel of, I'm sure they're implying that it's a pre-hardened billet of steel in 28 to like 36 Rockwell C, which means it's a fairly tough steel. It's fairly strong, but it's also not going to fatigue. It's kind of a sweet spot for parts that see higher stresses repeatedly, not extremely high stresses where you need to go to some exotic steel, but or, you know, fully hardened something like this. It generally provides a very tough product. So, I mean, I see that as a plus. I don't know what other rifle makers you think of it or use. Off the top of my head, I think most bolt actions are made out of 4140, maybe 4350. Anyway, sorry, tangent there. So, it's supposed to be a well-made weapon. Having read that about it, I wasn't sure how it would actually shoot. My expectations were not high. And on top of that, I never owned an AKM, and you're always reading about how inaccurate they are compared to an AR-15, which most AR-15s, in my opinion, are not accurate weapons. They're accurate enough, probably. I mean, it's not a bolt action rifle. So this one, before 2015, bought it used. Almost no wear on it. Absolutely almost no wear. Exceptional shape. I can't find any blemishes on the wood or something. Somebody probably shot it a handful of times, put it away, and put it on. It was on consignment. They put it on consignment. So you've got laminated buttstock, made in USA. I don't have anything laminated. I don't think I ever have. So this is probably my first laminated buttstock. The theory is you take a lot of different pieces of wood, glue them together under pressure, and they form a stronger piece of wood, because the grain structure is going different ways. They're going to expand and contract differently, and the layer next to it's going to help support that. I mean, it's all sound reasoning. I don't know if they're any better. It looks kind of cool with like a black finish. Coming up, Made in America handguard. This is, I did not see any branding on it. It's reasonably comfortable. It's got finger grooves for all of your fingers. You know, like a lot of ARs, they'll just have that first notch, which I absolutely hate. This feels way better. I would rather have this than the traditional A2 AR-15 buttstock. It's rather comfortable, not super wide, but it's got nice texturing. Especially I always shoot with gloves on. Pig something. Anyway, the grip impressed me. It's a great grip. So this trigger portion is stamped. It's not milled, presumably stamped in the USA. It's not milled, so you also have a stamped magazine release. And with this rifle, I've been using Magpul mags. I don't have any imported mags. So the trigger is better than expected, because again, my hopes were not high with this rifle. But the break, it's odd. I mean, it's not clean, but it's definitely a one-stage trigger, but it kind of moves a bit, and then like stops again. Like if it's a two-stage, I mean, it moves like a 64th of an inch before you hit that second stage. So I think it's just a shitty trigger. But it always surprises me when it goes off quickly, because there's not as much creep as you would expect. So, I mean, for what it is, I don't know. Why would you change it? So, Magpul magazines, I guess we're going to. I bought the rifle. It came with one, and I bought 30 more. Which I like to have a lot of magazines for rifles. So I bought 30 more. So, what I've been shooting in this is Tula steel core ammo. I don't know why you would shoot something different in an AK. I'm going to shoot that. This is about the only thing I shoot in. So mags don't lock open when they're out, but these Magpul mags have functioned flawlessly with this rifle. I have not had a single malfunction, failure to feed, failure to eject, anything. I don't know if I could say that about an AR-15. I mean, it functions flawlessly. I didn't, I wasn't continuously oiling it, anything like that. I mean, I lubed it up before I shot it, but for reliability, I was impressed. I did have one problem, not at all related to the rifle. The Tula ammo, I had one round that did not go off. Ejected it. The primer was in backwards. So the part of the primer that the firing pin would strike was closer to the powder than the breech face. It was backwards. That's certainly no fault of the rifle. I'm kind of glad it didn't go off. That was just ammo malfunction. So stamped safety. The charging handle has this weird plastic piece on that actually it flies off when you're shooting. Not when you're shooting it, but if you're charging it aggressively, it flies off. So I normally don't keep it on here, but it came with it. I don't see what it adds, but it came with it, so kept it for now. The bolt feels like you're pulling chains out of a bucket. It's the best way to describe it. Like if you're just dragging chains out of a bucket, that's what it feels like when you wrap that bolt. It's a weird feeling if you're used to an AR. There's nothing smooth about it. It's herky-jerky. It makes a cool sound, but herky-jerky. This is not a precision weapon. This is a weapon that they designed to manufacture easily, and they did an excellent job at that, and that's probably why it's so successful. So your charging area handle is that this is a dust cover. It's just a stamped piece of aluminum, I believe. Just slides off. And then right here, you have your recoil spring assembly, and it's captured. And your bolt. Oh, there you go. Bolt comes back out, and it has the piston attached. Apparently, I forgot to clean that. When I clean, I'm not used to these. When I cleaned it, I clearly did not clean the piston. So that's about what I got out of it. It's a self-cleaning-ish system, which is why it runs so reliably for so long, potentially. Don't send hate mail. Rotating bolt, kind of like an AR, way fewer lugs. You have a spring plunger style extractor. Your ejector is built in to the receiver, and that is the milled receiver. A lot of times these are stamped. The traditional ones are going to be stamped steel, and I've never seen one, so I can't compare. The trigger in this is supposed to be a Tapco. I mean, it's certainly sufficient. It's not good, but it's kind of the whole purpose of this rifle. I mean, you don't buy a Glock, such a common comparison, but I mean, you don't buy a Glock for the trigger. You don't buy a Glock because of how well it's built. I mean, that's why Ed Brown exists. You buy a Glock because it's reliable, easy to use, easy to maintain, and pretty much works all the time. It sounds so cliche to say, but that's kind of handling it, shooting it. It's kind of what you get out of it. So, yeah. So it's obviously a piston system, no direct impingement. Let's see if we can get this back together. There we go. Piston. Probably doing this wrong. If I am, comments. Okay, so that's back together. And again, the other part of this rifle that completely impressed me was the sighting system. Not expecting that at all. So I was not aware of how these worked. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise because this, on the battlefield, was generally opposed to the M16A2. And more recently, the M4, I guess, or the M16A4. Anyway, this was generally opposing a AR-15 style rifle. Which has a decent sighting system and adjustment for elevation. I guess just the design was so crude, it caught me by surprise, and it works very well. So back here, there's a set screw right here, and these sights are maybe different than most common AKMs, but that's what came on this, and this is all I know. So set screw, and you've got a windage adjustable rear sight. It's just a notched rear sight. It's reminiscent of a pistol. And then up here you have a slider which adjusts your elevation. You have your main elevation adjustment on the front sight base, just like an AR-15. So your main elevation is there, and then you've got S. Don't know what that stands for, but it's basically your battle zero. My understanding is you aim at the belly button of your target within 300 meters, I believe, and you will hit somewhere in the chest area, in the vital areas, possibly the head. So that's kind of like their battle zero, similar to what on it's an A2 sight, your large aperture, which is 0 to 200 meters, quick acquisition. This doesn't, acquire it any quicker. It's just kind of the zero is similar. And then you have a more precise 1 meter, which actually drops the sight. You can see, if I bring that forward, it drops it, which is going to make you aim lower. You're going to cock the rear of the rifle up and aim lower. So this battle sight is, you're going to be aiming way above your 100-yard zero, which makes complete sense. Anyway, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 meters, and slide this out. Where the top meets is it'll be like right now it's an S, and then you have this sighting system. You want it to underline the distance that you're shooting. If you bring it all the way up to 8, you'll see that's as far as it goes. So a good system. I tested it out to 300 yards, not 300 meters, and it was on. Now with the S or Battle Zero setting at 150 yards, like a 10-inch plate, I was having trouble hitting consistently. So I don't know how accurate. I guess like a 10-inch plate is, it's not much narrower than your body. So I don't know how accurate it is. It could totally be me. At that time, I believe I was shooting off of a Really Right Stuff tripod with a pig saddle. So I had fairly good support, and it would hit a lot, but sometimes if you weren't quite right, there was not a big margin of error there. However, if I went to the 2 and held the bottom of the plate, it would hit almost consistently. And again, 300, it worked. For open sights, it worked just as good as an AR. The Tula ammo was chronographing 23-40 feet per second-ish. I don't remember the extreme spread or standard deviation. It was big, just like you would see with AR, like M855 ammo or any mass-produced ammo. It was a low to mid 2,300 feet per second. Round, very light recoiling. I really like it. CZ makes a bolt action in the 7.62x39. They make like a carbine model. They look pretty interesting. They've always interested me, and this has nudged me a little closer to getting one. It was a very pleasant round to shoot. So, moving up, laminated furniture, nothing special about that. fits fairly loose on the bottom. The top is tight. But I guess, I mean, it wouldn't be an AKM if it didn't do that, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't bother me. Here's your gas port, and you have vents right here. So when your piston's sitting up here, when it comes back, the gas vents up here, rather than like in the air spitting out down into your chamber. So you have those ports there. Coming up front sight base, it's pinned. It's got 2 pins, and the muzzle is threaded. It's an M14. I don't know what the thread pitch. I'm gonna guess 1.5 millimeters. But you've got a sort of port, maybe partial flash hider. I don't know. It faces straight up. A lot of AKMs you see just an angle cut or a port that's cocked, and the reason I say this faces straight up is it's pinned, but it's a depressible pin, and you can just push that pin down and screw that muzzle brake off. And you have your detent here for the pin, so it's obviously intended to go straight up, and it fits extremely loosely. It's actually pretty sketchy. God damn it. There we go. No. It's a left-handed thread. I'm a complete idiot. It's an M14, it's a left-handed thread. So it's turning it the wrong way. Yeah. So fairly fine thread pitch, might not be 1.5. But when you get down here and you tighten it all the way down, it's a good 15 degrees away from hitting the detent again, and the way it came was out one turn like that. It wobbles a little bit. Clearly they have enough clearance built in so the bullet doesn't strike any of the baffles. Really weird. I would think there's a better option than doing it like that, but that's how it works. So I've shot this at the range. I've still got more ammo. Tula ammo's hard to find. I know I've got a ton of my video to-do list keeps growing, and I do have a list of what I'm doing, what's coming up, but further down that list is shooting this and comparing accuracy against a open-sighted AR-15, my Bushmaster dissipator. Maybe unfair because the dissipator is a long sight radius. They don't make a dissipator, so it's probably what I'm going to compare. Until next time, enjoy.